Welcome to our podcast, Women Need to Do Better. At least that's what we tell ourselves, right? We are already high achieving women doing all the things for everybody, doing the best we can. But we've got that little voice in our heads that tell us we're not doing enough, even though our cup overflows with lots of activities, lots of responsibilities, and we question our value, our self worth. That's what this podcast is about. Having those honest conversations about the weight that we carry and the lies that we tell ourselves about why we need to carry so many things and what it actually looks like to put some of that down and start living lighter. Hello, everybody. I am Shelly Kirschenman. I'm your host. Thank you so much for spending your time as we take a perspective on what drives us crazy. Okay, well, maybe not crazy, but one thing I know that we are really good at is staying busy. And if you're new to me, thank you so much for stopping by. If you are a regular, I appreciate you coming back. So we are in the middle of a 6-week series that I'm talking about relationships, the relational stress, and the different dynamics of how the people in our lives affect how we live. Last week, I introduced you to my good friend Rose, and I took you kind of behind the scenes on a day in the life of what she deals with. And I just wanted to stop right here for just a moment. And I wanted to thank the women that are allowing me to share their lives, to share behind the scenes vulnerabilities that they have, the internal struggles that they're going through, and just put it out there for everybody to hear their side of things, to kind of get that behind the scenes glimpse, that fly on the wall of what these women deal with. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. When we were talking about Rose last week, we brought you into her normal, typical day where she'd planned the day the night before, really good habit to get into. And all of the mental pivots, the adjustments, the emotional gymnastics that she had to navigate during that day. I mean, she even got up an hour early just so that she could try to get more things done and fit into her day. And, you know, she was just looking forward to ending her day with her favorite glass of wine and a bubble bath. And if you love bubble baths, I hope that you got your own bubble bath in sometime between last episode and now. But if you didn't, maybe that's why you came back for another story. Because here's the thing. Sometimes our alone time that we're craving, it really isn't earmarked for relaxing or for the silence or for decompressing or unpacking. And that's why I wanted to introduce you to Trish. She's a wonderful woman, a beautiful lady, and I know she's so humble. She would not say this about herself, but she really is so smart. She's ambitious. She is so capable. She's married to Scott. They have kids. She works full time, and she's trying to finish getting her degree so that way she can better her family's life. And so I'm going to take you behind the scenes on a Saturday for her. Saturday morning, she's got a massive research paper that's due midweek. And so she decided not to go into work that weekend because she has to get that paper done. And this was the weekend. That was her window of time that she absolutely needed. But she was already stressed out because she was feeling like she was falling behind on absolutely everything. Can you relate? I get it because, sometimes all the planning, everything that we try to do, it still feels like there's just not enough hours in the day. So here she is on a Saturday, decided to, forego going into work, try to really hunker down, focus on that paper that she needs to do. Scott knew that she was really stressing out about this paper, and he was like, hey, you know what, babe? I know how important this is for you to get done. So I'm going to go take the kids out for the next 4 hours, and the house is yours. And Trish felt a flicker of relief, like, oh, And she's going through her head 4 hours, and she's imagining how awesome it's going to feel to get that paper done, to get that big thing. You ever have that big looming priority on your list that when you actually get it accomplished, your whole day feels so much lighter? That whole weekend would just feel amazing if she could just get that paper done. And then, of course, Scott keeps talking, and he said, I hope you can actually use this time for your homework instead of cleaning it like you did the last time. Ouch. Yeah. Thanks, Scott. So anyhow, Scott gets the kids and they head out the door, and Trish can hear that car pulling out of the driveway, and she notices how quiet the house is. She's like, I can concentrate. I can finally get that paper done. It's feeling good. So she's trying to get herself psyched up to, okay, work on that paper. I don't know if you've ever had to work on a paper or do any kind of creative work. It's not the same when you have to have that mental energy and that capacity to figure out what you're going to say versus just doing a task like cleaning, things like that. Very different mental space. So she's in the kitchen. She's getting her coffee. She's getting her laptop ready. She's getting her work area set up. Make sure she's got paper, pens, all the things, right? And as she sits at the kitchen table, she's ready to sit down and start working on the paper. She opens up the laptop and she starts staring at a blank screen. The cursor's blinking. And she's just trying to force her brain to focus. But as she's sitting there, looking at her blank computer screen, trying to focus on this, the corner of her eye, she can see the kitchen table. Nobody's put away their dishes. Then she glances over at the kitchen sink. More dishes piled up in the sink. She notices there's that circle, that milk ring from the cereal bowl from earlier. And then she sees crumbs from the toast. Everything she tries so hard to ignore and just focus on getting this paper written, but there's too many distractions. So she gets up, she starts, okay, you know what? I can't focus on my paper. I need to clear the clutter. There's too much chaos. My brain is just going too many directions. So if I just do the dishes, just load the dishwasher, wipe down the counters real quick, just real fast. These things don't take that long, right? Then the dog is whining at her. The dog needs to go out. Okay. It's all right. I can get done. So she starts wiping down the counters. And one thing leads to another. If you've ever been just kind of in your zone, you're just real quick, right? You do this all the time. It's like every time she turns around to finish a task, she sees something else that needs attention, like the laundry that's overflowing on the floor. She's telling herself to ignore it. Go write that paper. Come on. Like, you've got the time now. It's quiet. No distractions. Or so she thought. But if you've ever tried to sit down and focus on something that's a high priority, but all these little things catch your eye that you know are things that are going to take your time later, it's kind of hard. Like, you start getting that tension in your chest. I get it in my shoulders. I just kind of like, and that's when my mind starts unraveling with all the lists. And that's how she's telling me the same thing. That to-do list, like, okay, I need to work on my paper. This is a priority. Dishes in the dishwasher, no problem. Okay, I'll just load the dishwasher real quick, throw the clothes in the laundry. It's not like I have to go to the laundromat. It's not like I'm going down to the river, beat the clothes clean, right? Shouldn't take that long. And that's the thing. She can't focus in the chaos because her brain literally can't find the bandwidth to focus when she's surrounded with all these physical reminders of the things that she's going to have to handle later. And I understand that. I've been there. And it's not like she's trying to avoid schoolwork. She really wants to get this done, but she's just frantically just forcing herself, but the distractions are just too much. So real quick, right? She gets the counters wiped off. She's done all the little things. Finally, the kitchen's clean. She can sit down. She opens up her laptop. She starts working on her homework. She's almost in that groove. Like she finally knows what she's going to write about. She's got all the tabs open, all her sites ready. It's go time now. She is in her zone. She's ready to get that paper done. House is still quiet, and then she looks up at the clock, and it's 4:47. And the only reason she actually looked up at the clock when she was in the zone is because she heard the car in the driveway. And she realizes that she's been alone, home. She's had 4 hours. And she instantly starts beating herself up because, yeah, the kitchen's clean, laundry's folded, dog has been taken out twice because he, whines at her. Can't focus on doing your homework when the dog is pawing at you and whining, right? She had the field trip slip all signed and ready to go, along with the money for that in an envelope. She had to order that birthday present that they'd been talking about. The party's coming up. She had to make sure that it was going to come in time. And good thing she did, because a day later and it would have been late. So she sighs. She closes her laptop because now Scott and the kids are coming through that front door. And of course, Scott's smiling. They had the best time. He's totally relaxed. Kids are happy. And he looks around. He's like, wow, the kitchen's clean. Look at you go. Awesome. Okay, so listen, I've had the kids all day. So nobody's probably really thought about dinner. I'm going to help you out, make it easy. Let's just all go out and grab something easy so that way you don't have to cook. She looks at him and she says, sure, that sounds great. But did it? I can tell you, because she told me, it didn't sound great. In fact, it sounded the opposite of great. It sounded stressful. The thought of going out for dinner stressed her out so much, because all she can think about is she was in her flow. She's not going to get that flow back. It's going to get harder to get back started on that paper. By the time that they get back home from having dinner, everything is just pushed out. Less time to get things done. And she knows what's going to happen. When they get home, he's going to want to have his time to relax because he's had the kids all day. So she's going to be in charge of the whole night routine, getting them bathed, getting them ready for bed, la-di-da-di-da. And the other thing too, how could she tell him that she didn't get her paper done? I mean, after all, he gave her this time to get it done. And he reminded her, don't go cleaning the house. Make sure you're using it for homework. And she doesn't know how to explain to him that he's not actually helping, especially saying stinging words as he's leaving, going out the door. How do you explain to your partner that being given time is not the same as being free to use it? I mean, Scott did indeed give her time, right? 4 hours of it, in fact. But Trish didn't actually get the gift of time. She just borrowed 4 hours from her future self. And she knew that when they got back from dinner, she's going to be the one doing all the things with the kids, because Scott had them all day and now he needs his time to unwind. And what that means for her, she's going to have to pay back that time with interest by staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning to finish that paper while everyone else is asleep. And Trish didn't need someone to manage her time for her. What she really needed was someone to share her load. Because managing her time, and even though Scott won't see it this way, is making comments like, I hope you get your homework done this time. Sharing the load looks very different. It looks like walking through the door and noticing what needs to be done and just doing it. Just opening your eyes and doing what needs to be done without having to be asked. But honestly, Trish, she was simply just too tired to have that conversation. She knows how it's going to end up in an argument. Scott will feel like his genuine attempt to help her was being rejected. He'll feel attacked. I can't do anything right. I don't know what else I can do. And it takes an immense amount of energy, emotional restraint to explain that invisible load to someone who doesn't see it. And she didn't have the bandwidth to try. And if you're listening right now and you feel that exact same kind of heavy, suffocating weight, wondering why you're trying to carry the weight of two people's worth of responsibility while you keep putting your own life on hold, you're not alone. And you're not doing it wrong. Because being understood isn't the same thing as fixing that exhaustion, right? And I love that we have these conversations here. But it's also important to kind of look at, where are we spending our energy? Where is it leaking on autopilot? Where Trish looks around and she just sees what needs to be done and she just does it at the expense of her own priorities. And if you take a look in my show notes, I've got a 3-minute quiz that will help you figure out, where are you leaking your energy? Do yourself a favor, pause this podcast, just take 3 minutes, go through that stress test, and just see. Awareness is key. Because we all, like Trish, would love to have our time, but we don't want to be told how to use it. And it would be great if we could figure out a way to have someone help us with the load instead of constantly carrying this invisible load alone. So I'm going to pause right there with Trish. She's still, at this point, I will bring you into what's going on with her up to now. But for the purposes of this, we're going to just kind of leave her where she's at, because I want you to meet somebody else next week. And I want you to understand that I am showing you these women because we all look different. We all have different things that go on in our lives, but we all deal with the same stuff. And the woman that I want to introduce you to next week, it's going to be same show, same honest conversations, but this lady is not behind in school, and she doesn't have a partner that's giving her a hard time. She's also not chasing kids' schedules and activities. She's single. She's amazing. She's lovely. And she's not lonely, even though society will probably tell you that she is. And the people in her life have actually said it too. Not to be cruel, but just because they can't imagine that her life can look the way it does and that she's not lonely because she's single and because she doesn't have kids. And because somehow that's supposed to mean that she's missing something in her life. But the thing that people just don't say out loud, or maybe they just don't recognize with your single friends, is that sometimes your single friends can feel more alone in a room of their friends with the people that they love and that love them. They can feel more alone in those spaces than they do in their own homes by themselves with their dog. So if you're single and you understand what I'm talking about, you won't want to miss next Monday's episode, because I want to bring this to light, because a lot of people just don't see you. So tune in next Monday for that mysterious woman, and don't forget your coffee. And if you've enjoyed these podcasts, please don't forget to subscribe. Forward this to another woman that you know would enjoy and understand exactly what we're all going through, because the purpose of this podcast is to really connect us and bring us together to show you that you are not alone in what you're going through, because it can feel like that. Don't forget to take my quiz, and I would love to hear some feedback if you've got something that you want to share. I love hearing those stories. You guys have been pouring in some stuff with me, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Anyways, I will see you next Monday. Until then, take care.